Hello and welcome to the Autistic Commando channel. I am Sean Hupel, your host, aka Autistic Commando, and I'm going to talk about you're autistic, now what? On TikTok I have about 75,000 followers. I talk to about 1,000 people through comments and through messages because I read every comment and I try to respond to people as much as I have time for. The question I get the most is, I'm autistic, now what? Well, here's the truth about it. You've got new information. And that new information can be utilized to gain resources. So for example, let's talk about the Social Security resources. You've got number one, Social Security disability. Autism is considered a disability, which means you could potentially get a check every month. I get SSI right now. I'm applying for SSD. And that's because I have a lot of challenges. Multiple sclerosis being one, arthritis being another, that people just don't see or know about. You can apply for disability through Social Security and gain access to these resources, or you can get an official diagnosis from a psychiatrist on your own. Because they will provide you one if you apply for disability. They have to verify that you have autism. Autism is the one that they accept. If you do it on your own, that's fine too. You can bring it to them, but they will still probably have somebody verify that you are autistic. From there, you go on to vocational rehabilitation. That sets you up with a job coach, and the job coach will help you build your resume. They will help you narrow down the different types of jobs, the application process, the interview process, and they can even help apply with you and reach out to the employer themselves to basically give you a leg up. If you are considered disabled in the workplace, there is a tax credit granted to an employer. Now let's go on the more interpersonal side. When you are autistic, it is okay to tell people that you are. In fact, I tell employers that I am every time. Now I do. But when it comes to your friends, telling them you're autistic and taking off the mask, it comes with risks. Some people know you for the mask that you wear around them, depending on how well you're able to mask. Not everybody is able to mask at the same level, and some people have very obvious disabilities. I don't want to discount that in any way, shape, or form. Everybody's unique, everybody's different. I love everybody. And that's actually a true statement. Don't always want to eat with somebody, but you love them. But your interpersonal relationships can change. And there are some people that just totally, completely accept, I am very literal, I am very direct. Those are considered strengths in corporate America, as well as the military. Being very direct, being very precise, that is also a staple of autism. And we'll cover the DSM-5 too, but not here. So when you tell your friends, you run the risk of losing them if they like the person you've been pretending to be. Your family may not believe you. They may even see the diagnosis and say, okay, it's not that bad. Or they could say, oh, I see that. And some friends will be like, oh, I already knew. And that happens a lot. You'd be surprised what people see. You'd be surprised what people don't see, what they don't notice, the little quirks and tics. Some people may accept you, but some may not. That's friends and family members. A lot of parents, and I'm going to speak to Gen X and the baby boomers, they don't have the education that we have today on autism. They were taught very, very differently. A lot of individuals, a lot of parents would see autism as a fault. That's how Autism Speaks came to be in the first place. Look it up. Autism Speaks History on Google. It's kind of an eye-opener. The gentleman basically saw his son and said, I want to cure him. I want to fix him. Parents used to live vicariously through their children. They would tell their children, you need to do this in your life, you need to do that in your life. They didn't allow their children to be the individuals that these parents were. Or maybe those parents were forced into it too, and that's just the way things are done in their mind. When you admit that you're autistic, some parents may see that as, what's wrong with me to produce you? And the thing they need to know is there's nothing wrong. Autism is a natural aspect. We've been around for hundreds of years speculatively. Like we didn't have internet or anything like that, hundreds of years ago. When an autistic individual listens to Fleur Elise and they know what that song pertains to, like Beethoven, he could visualize. I have no doubts that he's autistic because he visualized music even when he went deaf. And it was one of the most beautiful love letters. I mean, who it's to is questionable, but it's one of the most beautiful love letters that I've ever seen, or heard in this case. A lot of us visualize, and Beethoven was one of us. And then you've got Einstein. He visualized math, numbers, and physics. That's just how his mind worked. With me, I visualize mechanics. I see engines running in my head like I'm watching a movie. Not everybody can relate to that. Not everybody can relate to your autistic experience. You may not get a positive reception, but the long story short is some people will accept you, some will not. Same thing with the workplace. They may treat you differently. They may be more standoffish, like you have a disease. I don't see autism as a disease. I see it as a way of being. You are autistic if you are autistic. Same thing with ADHD. You are ADHD if you have ADHD. That's just built in. It's a characteristic, and it's heritable. It passes from generation to generation. I am not the first in my bloodline to have autism and ADHD. I'm not. My mother is very likely undiagnosed autistic, and my father is most certainly ADHD. No doubt. These things are heritable, and that's what you are. You are your own unique, beautiful, wonderful human being. And I know some people are like, beautiful, ugh. You are your own strong, unique human being. Because guess what? You survived this far beyond the bullying, beyond being ostracized. You have figured out all the complexities of survival to get you this far. You're watching this video, right? So you're still here. Hi. You can be your true, unique self. Just understand, not everybody's going to accept it. The same way there's some people I've worked with in the past I don't want to be friends with. I don't like their personality. That is a staple of life. We don't all have to get along with everybody else. We have to respect each other, but we don't have to like everybody else. In fact, we can love people in our family, but we don't have to like them. And that is a true story. Or at least that's the way I was raised. But I was also raised by a woman that almost became a literal nun and sewed quilt tops for the homeless all of my childhood. When it comes to getting your diagnosis, it doesn't change who you are. It's just new information. You can take that information however you want to take it. You can now understand, oh, it's not this, it was that the whole time. Because I've been labeled many different things. The truth was, I wasn't being my authentic self, and that was eating away at me. And I remember being about 26 years old, looking in the mirror and just not recognizing who I am. What do you like? Who are you? If you took away all these different things, what would you be? I went through that personal crisis, that personal reflection. And that's something that sometimes comes along with getting that diagnosis is people that I've spoken to and myself, we reevaluate our lives and say, okay, wow, that's what this was, that's what that was. That's why I did that. And that's why this is so difficult. And there's an acceptance that comes with having the diagnosis. Sometimes we have what's called imposter syndrome. Okay, was it because of this or was it because of that I did this? It becomes more obvious that we're masking and pretending for somebody else's benefit, to make somebody else more comfortable or to make somebody else like us. And that's a challenging thing to overcome because it ties directly into ego and rejection sensitivity dysphoria, which I will talk about in another video. But all in all, having a diagnosis just means you have more information, and now you can move forward with your life with that new information. You can do with it what you want. You can use it as a tool to understand yourself better. You can use it as a resource to gain SSI, SSD if you're low on income, which by the way, if you're making decent income, then you won't qualify for any of those anyway. There's also vocational rehabilitation. If you want to find a new job or if you want to get into a job that's more beneficial to you and have resources available to you to accomplish that goal. My job creator, I appreciate him like no other. We are still Facebook friends and we still communicate once in a while. That's what they're there for. Like, they volunteer their time to be job creators and they help you find a job and will work with you every step of the way to help you with any inaccessibility or challenge that you have with job searching. And there's also access to Medicaid if you ever become low income and you can't afford insurance. You have Medicaid access through Social Security. So you have to go through them with the diagnosis or have them do the diagnosis themselves by applying for disability. And with friends and family, it's new information for them too. And they're going to process it however they're going to individually process. We can't have expectations from anybody that we know close, personal or professionally, or they might have known the entire time. Be ready for both scenarios, and be ready for the unexpected, like perfect, complete acceptance and accommodation. Keep an open mind when you're sharing this information with others. And understand also that if you're going to like different countries that don't want, I think New Zealand doesn't want autistic people to move there. Some countries are like that. This new information you can do with as you will, and it can lead to a community that's already overcome some of the challenges you may be facing and that might be able to offer some guidance. TikTok, I love it. That helped me immensely. I'm also writing books. If you want to see an incredible life of a walking Napoleon Dynamite with a diehard complex that walked through life like Don Quixote, look up The Little Autist That Did an Untold Journey. It's got audiobook, I've got Kindle, and we've got hardback and paperback. I'm going to link in the description. Meantime, be sure to like and subscribe down below, and you're going to get some more amazing content on autism and ADHD. See you next time.